Hello.
Well, hello there, Matthew Long. How lovely to see you.
It's
And
lovely to
Mr.
see you too.
Lovely.
Oh, look at that backdrop.
Thank you. It's little Hanzell. Lloyd. Hi, Lloyd.
How we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? I like the glasses.
Unfortunately, I need them more these days. I like your background.
Thank you. A little Hanzell over here for us today.
Hello, Matthew. Kyle delivered my dinner for tonight.
Oh, nice. Nice. We're having the same dinner tonight, so I'm looking forward to it. Ooh, what happened to my background?
And how did the rest of the weekend go for you?
Good. Really happy. Yeah, really happy with how it went. You know, it was really, we raised a really good amount of money, so that makes me really happy. And what's going on there? Background. There we go. So I'm really happy about that, and so thank you for that. And yeah, and the feedback was really good. I think the Colors of Wine Country has been watched by, what was the early say? I think like 3,500 people so far.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so really nice, really nice. There's McNeil.
Hi, Gary.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Get it all bottled today?
We got what we needed to get bottled today.
Excellent.
Yeah.
God, I'm telling you, I'm cheating. I started already, and the Hanzell farm. Hello.
Yeah, it's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, really nice. Yeah, I like it a lot. I can't wait. We'll talk about that. Do you want to start with the Hanzell farm and then go to the Chardonnay and then Pinot?
Yeah.
I figured as much. That's why I poured it that way for myself first.
Nice background view that you've got there.
You like it? I thought you might like it. And we're about, I think, 11 or 12, I think we should be 12 people. So, yeah, but it's just going on 5 o'clock now. So we'll give people a chance to come on in.
Sounds great.
Give them a minute or so.
Excellent.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
It is cocktail hour now, isn't it?
It's what?
It is cocktail hour now, isn't
It
it?
is.
Well, it's always cocktail hour.
Well, here in Sonoma, it certainly is. Especially these days, ever since this whole thing, shelter in place, we've been anytime's cocktail hour. That's
yeah. That first few weeks of the lockdown, boy, there was a lot of consumption happening.
Yeah. Oh, every winery that I spoke to said that the online sales were just like phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like really, it was just like amazing. So, that's great. Oh, and here comes Boris. Boris from Chicago is joining in.
Hi, Boris.
Hi there.
Chicago. Hey, Boris.
What's going on?
We're suffering here.
I know.
And, having to drink some Hanzell today. It's tough. Mary
Like picking up the bottle.
Elise is clicking on. Paula, welcome. Nice to have you here today. And hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. It's Wine Wednesday. So hope everyone's having a good one. Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, Mary Elise. Nice to see you.
Hi, Gary. It's nice to see you too.
Glad you can join us this afternoon.
Me too.
And so Why don't we give it just another minute? Let's give ourselves another minute, and then we'll get started here.
Sounds great.
And I'm just gonna pour myself a little bit more.
'Cause why not?
Okay.
You
Well-
look good, Gary.
I look good?
You look great.
Oh, why, thank you. It's the background that does it. It's the background. I actually just got I got a green screen thing, and it's on it's like a whole big thing.
I like it. It's like you're
Yeah.
out in the country on a farm.
Yeah, exactly. It works really great. I like it a lot. I like it better than just a boring old background. So that's good. So anyhow, I say let's get started here because it's just 5:03, and I am so thrilled, more than thrilled, actually ecstatic to have Michael McNeil with us today, winemaker at Hanzell Vineyards. And I have to give a little asterisk so that everybody knows that I am a little bit biased because I did work up at Hanzell Vineyards with McNeil, and that's what I will call him because everybody calls him McNeil. So everyone say, hi, McNeil. And, and I had the opportunity for just about 2 years to be an estate educator up at this magical winery that is really, truly, I always say it's more than a winery because it's really about a sense of place. It's about a sense of people up there. And it is also about winemaking history up there. And so hopefully we'll give you a sense of all of that this evening. And so I want to welcome McNeil. So cheers, McNeil. It's great to see you. Cheers, clink, clink.
I always love doing that.
And before we get to sort of go on about sort of the winery and sort of the history and the firsts up there, I want to start with the first wine we're drinking, which is one that I haven't had. So we are starting with a new wine called the Hanzell Farm wine, which is from the Debris Vineyard. And why don't you tell us all about this wine? This is the 2018.
So the Hanzell Farm series of wines kind of came out of the fact that each year we do literally dozens of different experiments, both for the Chardonnay and the Pinot Noir. And we, would typically bottle 2 or 3 cases to taste over the course of years. And we decided, wouldn't it be fun to do a couple, 3 barrels of an experiment and share them with our club members and people that follow us. And so the Hanzell Farm has kind of become a club within a club. Mm-hmm. And and it's kind of whatever strikes our fancy. We've done Pinot Noir from the Debris Vineyard, where we would do a 100% whole cluster versus 100% destem. So it gives you an opportunity to taste, what wine that comes from the exact same vineyard, picked on the same day, the difference between 100% whole cluster and 100% destem. And so because of it, we call it, on the label, it's the Debris Selection. It's not like necessarily a single vineyard designation where we're trying to capture the vineyard. It's really just, it can be anything. It can be one year, like this year, the 2018, we did 100% stainless steel fermented, no ML, no barrel time. It stayed in tank for 6 months, and then we bottled it, which we normally don't do, but we thought it would be really interesting to see what that's like and to share that. So it's kind of fun. It's cool, and it
So
gives us.
for you as a winemaker, it is it's a fun experiment that you get to do something different with every year.
Exactly. And we normally do that, but this is an opportunity where we get to share these experiments with our club and with our visitors that come to the winery.
Mhm.
So it's fun. It's going to be different year to year, and that keeps it exciting and interesting for
Wow.
us and for the club members.
It's beautiful. And so the Debris Vineyard, tell us.
Yeah, so let me tell you about
that
the vineyard. Hanzell sits on a ridge top, or actually it straddles a ridge top. Some of the vineyards are west facing, and there's the Sessions Vineyard that's totally east facing. The Debris Vineyard sits on that ridge top.
Oh, ridge top. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Ridge top? What is that?
Yeah. So it's right on top. So it gets a little bit more wind, but the soil up there is really fantastic. It's our largest single block. It was planted in 1976, and I think of it as sort of the heart and soul of the Hanzell estate wines. I think it's the most important part of the blend each year, not only in terms of size, but just because of the power and depth that we get each year from it. It's really, I think, a fantastic vineyard, and I love it. So,
right. And so you have, I was going to say we have up there, like I'm still there.
you can still say that, Gary. I'll let you.
I know, every time I come up there, which I love coming up there because it's such a magical place, that I still feel like I'm part of family up there, which is really great, even though I've been gone for about 4 years now. But everything that you do there is estate grown.
No, not necessarily. No.
Has that changed?
Well, yeah, it has. For the Sabella wines,
Okay,
which you will often find in retail
Right.
wines by the glass at restaurants. It's predominantly from the younger vines on the estate, but we do purchase fruit from like-minded growers from various parts of the county.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that is not estate.
Right. So
But the Hanzell farm and our flagship estate wines are 100% from the estate.
right, exactly. So let's talk history a little bit,
Sure.
because there really is a long history here. So why don't you take us back to the 1950s, 1953, right?
Actually, I'll take you back all the way to 1948. So we were founded by Ambassador James Zellerbach, and he's the Zellerbach of the Crown Zellerbach paper fortune, which back in the day was a Fortune 25 company. Ambassador Zellerbach was an engineer and an industrialist. And when he was in Europe administering the Marshall Plan, he was he helped write the Marshall Plan. And when he was in Europe administering it, he fell in love with the wines of Burgundy. And it became his dream to produce wines here in his native California that would compete with the best in the world. So in 1948, he came back, found this property, and in 1953, planted 2 acres of Chardonnay and 4 acres of Pinot Noir. We still have the 2 acres of Chardonnay, and we have 2.5 acres of that original Pinot Noir. So it's now the oldest continuously producing Chardonnay and Pinot Noir vineyards in North America.
Yeah, which is like right behind me.
Yes, right in front of the winery. And the winery was built in 1957, and it is a 2/3 kind of mirror image of the press house at Clos Vougeot, so that was sort of his nod to Burgundy. And he hired Brad Webb as his winemaker, who worked in the labs at Gallo, and really built not just a state-of-the-art winery, but really a quantum leap ahead of anything that had been imagined. It has gravity flow built into it, but back in the 1950s, the idea of man controlling the environment was very in vogue, and so he and Brad came up with this idea of building temperature-controlled stainless steel fermentation tanks.
The first ever.
The first in the world were here, and
Well, thank you.
what's that?
Well, thank you, I said.
Right. And
they're still up there. They're amazing to see in the Heritage Winery. We still have the original stainless steel tanks are still there intact, and it's amazing.
Ambassador Zellerbach knew that he was not a winemaker, but he knew Great Burgundy, and he intuitively knew that if the great wines that he had fallen in love with in Burgundy were made in French oak barrels, then by God, his wines were going to be made in French oak barrels. So he started importing them, which really hadn't been done.
So he was the first to import French oak barrels, right?
Yeah, and so we've used nothing but French oak barrels. So kind of a new world pioneer in that. Brad Webb, he was really a chemist and just a brilliant scientist, and he studied the role of oxygen in the oxidation of wine, and so he developed using inert gas, nitrogen, to prevent oxidation, both in storage and during bottling, and designed and built the first semi-automatic bottling line that would blanket the wine with nitrogen. So, just a lot of things that we think of as standard operating procedure throughout the industry kind of started here.
It's amazing. And what's amazing about it is that most people don't, unless you either read about wine history or if you go to visit Hanzell Winery, most people don't know these things, that all these firsts happen up there that have become part of winemaking for since the 50s. Yeah. It's just amazing. And so the focus then for Zellerbach and Brad Webb in that day was just Pinot Noir and Chardonnay.
That was it. And then Ambassador Zellerbach passed away suddenly in 1961, which I think was kind of tragic in that he never really got to see really how right he was, and that he found a great spot, and they planted the right varietal, and they made some really great wines. His wife Hannah, who the winery is in part named after, they took Hannah and Zellerbach and contracted it to Hanzell.
Voila.
She was a socialite in San Francisco, and back then Sonoma was quite a cow town, and she really wanted to have nothing to do with the property. So she sold the property to the Day family, and Mary Day ran the winery and really maintained Zellerbach's focus on age-worthy Burgundian-style wines. She hired Bob Sessions, who was our long time winemaker and president,
Amazing.
And then she sold the property in 1975 to the Countess de Brie, and we are still owned by the de Brie family. And so in 1976, they planted the de Brie vineyard. So.
Right, and they live in England. Everyone knows. So the current owners live in England. Come up every August still? Do they still come
Yes,
up?
every summer. Unfortunately, Alex won't be coming this year. So this is the first time I've been here since 2008. And this is the first time that Alex and his kids haven't been here.
Wow, that's amazing, because I know that was their tradition. Every year they came up for the month of August, lived around the house on the property there. So for you, McNeil, with all this history, coming off of Bob Sessions, who was the winemaker for how many years? Bob was up there for
28,
right,
29 years.
What was it like for you coming to this historic winery where you must have felt some weight on your shoulders there to carry on this torch of history.
Yeah, there was a lot. What was really great though is that when I first couple of years when I was here, we would sit down for our blending trials and our blending tastings, and Bob Sessions would be there, and unfortunately he had dementia, but he definitely had his moments of lucidity. But it was important that he was there. Actually, Kim Giles, who was Bob's predecessor, was a winemaker from 1967 to 71, would sit in, and Michael Terrian, who was my predecessor here, would sit in. So they would, of course, give all of their feedback and a lot of what we refer to as constructive disagreements about the wines. But they would then just say, all right, it's all yours. Do whatever you're going to do. So kind of no pressure there, but
no, none whatsoever.
But my experience, I worked at Chalone Vineyard back in the early and mid 90s, and back in the day when you talked about age-worthy Burgundian style Chardonnay and Pinot Noir in California, it was Chalone, Calera, Mount Eden, and Hanzell. And so it was something that I felt very familiar with, and I have a great respect for sort of the house style, or respecting the terroir of the property. It's not to say that we don't change things and always try to improve, because
because that's truly what it's about, isn't it? Up there at Hanzell, it's about, like I said at the beginning, a sense of place. Every wine that is produced really is about the sense of place up there, of each of the vineyards up there, and whether you do a vineyard designate or it's a blend, that it really is about that sense of place. So let's quickly go to,
moving on.
we'll quickly move on there to the Hanzell 2017 Chardonnay we have here. So
just to kind of piggyback on what we were talking about, I think that Hanzell has such a strong sense of place. The imprint of this vineyard and the terroir that is here is so strong that it really kind of takes over any real winemaking. Well, I shouldn't say take over, but no matter what you do to the wine, it really speaks of this place. So with that said, the Hanzell Chardonnay, this really is our flagship wine. It's a very uniquely made in California, for sure, and maybe the world. First of all, with Chardonnay, we actually crush the fruit, and then let it sit for a minimum of 2 hours for the lots that we know are going to go into the estate wine. We actually want some of the phenolic extraction from the skins. And after that period of cold soak, we then load the press and press it off. 2 days of cold settling, then 20 to 25% of the juice gets put to new French oak barrels where it ferments and stays for 12 months. We allow those barrels to go through malolactic fermentation and age surly. Then we pull the wine out of barrel and put it into tank for 6 months. The other 75 to 80% of the juice is tank fermented, no malolactic fermentation. And then after 6 months in tank, we put it to older barrel where it stays for 12 months. So after that 18 months of élevage, we then blend the wine and bottle.
Quite a process.
It's a very unique way of making the wine, but it really works. And there's a lot of reasons why we do it that way. The importance we feel for the tank fermented wine, it maintains that fruit quality, it maintains the acidity, the freshness, which we think is so important. And I think it really helps the wine speak further of this place. And then the barrel fermentation, it adds a lot of breadth and depth and richness to the wine, along with that kiss of oak. But we also believe that oak should be there to complement and present the wine, not get in the way and interfere with the fruit.
Right, because this is definitely not your buttery, oaky Chardonnay. No. And that's what I absolutely love about it, because just for me personally, wine is, everyone's preference. But for me personally, the Chardonnay is a beautiful expression of Chardonnay without, as I said, without it being, you don't get that butter, you don't get all that oak in it as well. And quickly also, the other first that happened up there that we didn't talk about was malolactic fermentation.
Yeah, what Brad did is he, at the time, they were having a hard time getting the Pinot Noir to finish malolactic fermentation. Almost all reds go through malolactic fermentation. And so he was looking for a pure culture of the malolactic bacteria that would give him the best results to actually finish the fermentation. And so he, along with a team in France, were kind of working in parallel, and they really had the first pure cultures of malolactic bacteria that they were re-inoculating with. You can actually still buy it at Inaris, which is a supplier of yeast and malolactic.
And so when Zellerbach started the winery, McNeil, was it because a huge part of what Hanzell's known for is the ageability of its wines. And was that always the case from the very beginning, or
that was certainly the goal and the style? Zellerbach believed that the great wines of Burgundy were about ageability, and he definitely wanted to see that as the case. And our Chardonnay is, I think, unique in California. It really stands side by side with the wines of Burgundy in terms of its ageability. And some could argue it ages better.
Right.
It's not uncommon.
When I was up there, one of the benefits of working up there that I remember and would love to be a part of is when we would do tastings of older vintages. And we literally were opening up bottles until Coravant came along. We were literally opening up bottles, though, of 1972 Chardonnay, 1976 Pinot, 1980 Chardonnay, 1981 Pinot, but, you know, on and on and on, that still were phenomenal. I mean, like, amazing how they have aged, and that you could still open up a bottle of a 1976 Chardonnay from California, which is considered unheard of, and still find it to be an amazing wine.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty regular to have, you know, see our wines at age 20, 25 be not just simply interesting and not dead, but really vibrant and have lots to offer. And I think that, you know, everybody here has different ideas and opinions about, you know, when the exact right time to have any one bottle. But I think it's pretty safe to say that, I mean, I'm a winemaker. I'm used to drinking wines before they're bottled. So I love young wines. I like tasting that pure fruit. But that being said, I think that 5 to 8 years after vintage, you know, so like this is the 17, I think in, you know, in 2022, 2023,
right,
for another 5 years, it's like, boy, the wines just start to sing. Matt Kramer referred to it as our wines with some age as Chardonnay in stereo.
right, love.
Where there's just so much more going on.
That's a great way to describe it. And that's why I would always tell people that when, you know, I was working up there, whenever we would taste any vintage, I would always tell people that this wine, you put this in your cellar in 10 years from now, 8 to 10 years, you are going to love this wine. Is going to be amazing. Even though it's beautiful now, it's going to even enrich and get more lively over the course of that time period. And also, McNeil, a quick question from Boris has a question. What is the benefit of malolactic fermentation? Why is it done?
That's a great question. So there's two fundamental fermentations that take place with wine. There's the primary fermentation, which is yeast. It's a yeast fermentation, and it converts the sugar to alcohol and carbon dioxide. You know, that's the most important one, right? But there's also a bacterial fermentation that can occur, and that is malolactic bacteria that converts malic acid, which is one of the two primary acids in grapes and wine, from malic acid into lactic acid. Malic acid is the main acid of apples. So it has a bite, it's tart, to lactic acid, which is the acid of milk. So it's much softer. And there's a lot of byproducts that go along with it, like diacetyl, which is what artificial butter flavor is. And so that buttery note is typically from malolactic. But just because a wine's gone through malolactic doesn't mean that it's necessarily buttery.
Right.
I can go on and on and on about that. And I don't want to confuse anyone. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with malolactic fermentation. But you know, if you want to retain the acidity of the grapes, you know, it's a stylistic winemaking decision whether or not you want to have it go through malolactic fermentation. And we try to control that because we want to maintain the acidity and freshness of the wine. So, yeah, but like almost all red wines go through malolactic fermentation because it happens. It just goes.
Right.
So, and you don't want it to happen in the bottle.
And speaking of, we have
Speaking of Pinot Noir,
speaking of Pinot Noir and red wine, we have a 2017 Hanzell Pinot Noir, and I love Pinot, one of my favorite varietals, and this is hands down, I have to admit, one of my favorite Pinot Noirs out there, because I love that French style. I love that you get that earthy essence, comes through in the wine. You get the forward fruit of Pinot Noir, but you get the dirt, you get the soil that's up there at Hanzell. So tell us about Hanzell Pinot Noir.
So Hanzell Pinot Noir, I can go on and on about Pinot. It's been my winemaking passion for almost 30 years now.
And by the way, McNeil, this is fabulous. 2017 is fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah. We're really excited about it. Excited about the direction of Pinot Noir. It's probably been the biggest changes we've been making on the winemaking side has been with the Pinot Noir. Where to begin? Most of the fruit on this is destemmed, but we also do. Have been playing with and liking the results of and incorporating more and more whole cluster fermentation. The portion of the whole cluster, we're doing what we call method ancien, where you basically just put the whole clusters into a tank, adding some dry ice as we go, a little bit of sulfur dioxide, keeping it cold, and doing a lot of treading as it gets filled. And we're really have been about maximizing the pre-fermentation maceration, and getting as much extraction and color and flavor before the alcoholic fermentation gets started, because we don't want to pull out any of the more bitter phenolics from the seeds and stems that'll come with alcohol, because alcohol is a solvent and pulls some of those more bitter compounds out into the wine. So we don't want to do that. So we're really trying to get as much as we can early on. 17, off the top of my head, I believe about a little over 35% new French oak, and aged about 10 months. So we've really shortened up the barrel time. When I got here, we were aging for 18 months in 50% new oak. So really, trying to capture more of the fruit qualities, because one of the things about this site for Pinot Noir is that we have lots and lots of phenolics, lots of tannin, that drying, gripping quality of the wine. We have that in spades. So we really don't want, we don't need more. We want it to really capture more of the fruit and sort of the yumminess of the wine. So we've shortened up that barrel time, trying to kind of keep it more fresh, and backing off on the new wood, which also can give you more tannin and phenolics, and just really let the fruit speak. So
right, which really does come through. And every year, though, the Pinot Noir, as far as it all comes from the estate, both the Chardonnay and Pinot Noir come from the estate, but that blend of how much from each vineyard is different, because the bottom line for winemaking is, one thing about it is every year you get to start over and you never know what you're going to get. And
right.
you have the good fortune of that you have this amazing space, this amazing sense of place up there, and you get to do that every single year, where you get to decide how much you want from the Debris Vineyard, the Ambassador Vineyard, the Zellerbach Vineyard, the Sessions Vineyard, and what's going to end up in this bottle.
And the one of the beautiful things about having our Sabella wine is that anything that we feel doesn't fit into the blend, doesn't work with the blend, doesn't really help elevate the blend, we can put that to the Sabella. And so it's a great tool that allows us to maximize the quality of the Hanzell wines.
Right. And quickly, for those of you who aren't here, Michael McNeil's mentioned Sabella a couple of times. That actually started when I was up there at the winery. When I started at the winery, it was just Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. That was it. We had 2 wines, and that's what everyone got to taste and what we talked about. And then we brought Sabella into the mix. And so tell us quickly about Sabella, what that label and that wine is all about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't, well, actually, hold on 1 second.
Okay, go. Oh my God, Boris, we're so going here when you come up next time.
I'm super sold on both already.
This is the box of labels, so you can so you can see that it says Hanzell on there, and the Heritage Winery is on the label. We're not trying to hide that it's part of what we do. We're very proud of the wine, but the Hanzell or the Sabella Chardonnay is a little bit more about freshness and crispness and aromatics. No malolactic fermentation, no new wood. It's just really about vibrancy and freshness. So.
Right, and also just between us here today on this Zoom meeting, there is also a little secret. There is some Cabernet Sauvignon from Hanzell.
Yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because when I was up there, you had just replanted a very small little lot, and so where's that at now? What's going on?
So yeah, we've released our second vintage of the
I haven't had it.
And the 2016 vintage was our first. We replanted it in 2012. So when the Countess de Brie purchased the property in 1975, being of proper English gentry, she loved her claret, and she went to Bob Sessions, who had worked at Mayacamas and made some of the great Cabernets there in the late 60s and early 70s. If we could grow Cabernet here, and Bob said, well, of course we can, sure. So the original planting in the Debris Vineyard, the bottom half of it was the 5 Bordeaux varieties. And so they made Cabernet from 79 to 92. And because Countess de Brie passed away suddenly in 1991. And her son, Alex, who's our current owner, he was only 16. And so we were run by a board of trustees, and a decision was made to bud the Cabernet over to Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And those Cabernets were fantastic. They were, but I guess, they didn't sell well, or for various reasons, they went with their strength, which was Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And when we replanted the bottom of the original Ambassador's Vineyard Pinot Noir, there was about 1.25 acres there. and it was really the warmest spot on the estate. And
Right, I remember that.
really didn't feel it was, given a choice, it probably should have been planted to Chardonnay versus Pinot Noir, because Chardonnay can take a little bit more heat. But we had just planted 8 acres of Chardonnay, and we didn't need more Chardonnay. And so, again, there was a couple years worth of constructive disagreement over what we were going to do with that ground. And we decided to use it, highest and best use. And so we brought back the Cabernet. So we now have 2 acres of it.
Right.
There's the acre and a quarter at the bottom of the Ambassador's Vineyard, and actually 6 rows, about 3/4 of an acre of what was originally the Cabernet. There was some vine, that Pinot Noir was virused and underperforming, so we had pulled that out at the same time.
Right.
And it's now Cabernet. So
I remember when you pulled it out, planted the Cabernet. They were this big, and now here you are, this many years later, into your second vintage or third.
Well, we made some in 2014. That was but that was just, we gave it away to the employees. 2015, we decided not to release. It's bottled, labeled, but we knew that we really liked the 16 vintage much better than the 15, and you only get one opportunity to make a first impression. So we decided to hold on to the 15. And ironically, 1979 was the first vintage of the original Cabernet, and it was the last one to be released. So, it'll be a library release down the road, I'm sure.
Okay.
But,
wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know
so
that.
we've released the 17 now, and we will bottle the 2018 vintage day after tomorrow.
Aha! Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Nice.
Yeah. Right now we're bottling
now that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love that. And so let me go. I want to share a couple of pictures. Let me see if I can do this right. I want to share. Let me see if I can share the screen. I want to share some. Tell me if you can see anything.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Share screen. I know I'm not the best at this stuff. Let's see.
Something happened.
Tell me, can you see anything?
We can see your Hanzell picks.
Hanzell picks, okay. So you can't see the one. Okay, that one came up. I wanted to go through. You're sharing a screen.
You're sharing the wrong application, Gary. So you're sharing just the Finder, that you need to share your entire screen or the preview application.
I know, it's so, okay.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, great. So
yeah, so that's one of the old vines in the Ambassador's Vineyard.
Right.
To me, it looks like Chardonnay.
Right, in 1953, right?
Yes, planted in 53. Those are still there.
And the thing about, you can see, just look how big and thick that vine is. But it is, even though, and you keep this vineyard because of why? Share that, because it is interesting.
Well, I mean, quite honestly, it's historic, but we are farming, and it is a business. We have to justify what we do. the Chardonnay vineyard actually is amazingly vigorous and still, you know, pretty decently productive. In a good year, we'll get 1.5 to 1.75 an acre, but it pretty reliably will produce 1.25 an acre, which in modern day standards would have been ripped out long ago.
Right.
But it does make amazing wines, and from time to time, we will actually bottle some of the Ambassador's Vineyard Chardonnay on its own, and you know, we do command a premium for it, and so it makes it worthwhile for us from an economic standpoint. But you know, I think more importantly, from a I hate to call it marketing, but from an historic aspect, we just think it's important. You know, as a winemaker, you know, they're just beautiful creatures that we want to keep.
It's such a beautiful vineyard, right, McNeil? The vineyard, it's just beautiful, and to watch that vineyard grow every year and know that, yeah, we know it's not going to yield as much as a young vineyard is going to yield, as much as young vines will yield, but to know that you're going to get all this rich, really full-bodied flavor from those grapes that it does yield is pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, there's no question that we're going to continue doing that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But you know, at some point, you do have to, you know, as long as you're taking care of the vineyard, it's going to keep producing. But like all living things, they all have a lifespan, and
right,
you know, eventually succumb to, you know, disease, or unfortunately, sometimes a tractor driver isn't paying enough attention, and we have what we refer to as tractor blight, which it just really kills me every time that happens. But you know, it is ultimately farming,
right?
And that's really kind of what we are focusing on now. That's Linda Hansen.
I have to give you, you know, credit. You know, Linda,
Yes.
Linda is amazing.
Linda is my work wife, my work spouse. We refer to each other as the other half of our brains, and it's really pretty wonderful. Linda and I, when I was working at Chalone Vineyard, she was at Edna Valley Vineyard, which was a sister winery.
Yeah.
And so we've been really good friends for, I think, 28 years now, 27 years. And so I get to go to work not only in a beautiful place and make fantastic, amazing wines, but I get to work with one of my dearest friends, literally a work spouse.
Exactly. It's really what I like to call it, where where two people work together and understand the vision and can help create that vision year after year after year, and that's what you two do. So I mean, I had to share a picture of Linda.
Yes, thank you.
Because of that, absolutely. And then also, I know I have in here somewhere. Let's see here. There he is. Can you see this picture yet? Or no? Okay, one second. Oh, okay, one second. Because we got to talk also about, let me see.
I'm hoping you're going to show Jose.
Of course. How can I not show Jose Ramos? And I am.
So just before we get to the picture, Jose Ramos basically walked up the hill in 1976 and stayed. Bob Sessions hired him, and he helped plant the Debris Vineyard. And his 3 kids all work here as well.
Can you see Jose now?
No, you're still on what you had before, which is
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Application.
I don't know why it does that. Okay, it says I'm screen sharing. Because I want to get that picture of Jose.
Make sure that the screen you're sharing has got the green highlight around it.
Okay, let's see. Your screen sharing.
You're only screen sharing the Finder application, not the preview application. That is your problem. So when you click on share screen, you need to either open the picture up first or share your entire desktop. There.
There we go.
So that's Jose Ramos and Jason Jardine. Jason's our president and director of winemaking. Jose, he's been up here since 1976, and his son Cesar is our cellar master, and his 2 daughters work here in the office, and he has a vineyard named after him, the Ramos Vineyard.
That's right. That's right. And that's what I meant at the very beginning when I said that, Hanzell is such about a sense of place, a sense of people, and as you got to, understand also a sense of history as well. And with amazing wines. So anyone have any questions for McNeil at the moment? Lloyd or Paula, Mary Elise, anybody, Michael, anybody, any questions? Or I hope that.
He's in Chicago?
What about,
Yeah, we're in Chicago. I can't tell you off the top of my head where you can find us.
Whole Foods or like wine shops?
Fine wine shops. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that's great about having a good small fine wine retailer is that they will find wines for you. So if you went to them and said, I'm really interested in Hanzell, they'll get it for you. Otherwise, you need to find a different one. And I really love to support the small retailers and
Probably just down the street. I have one 2 blocks away.
great. Yeah, go to them and they'll know how to get it.
well, it really is about one thing. I mean, Boris, is that, you don't find Hanzell at, it's mostly in fine wine shops. Sabella, you may find out there a little bit more readily available to you. But we're just going to have to get you, when you come out here, I'm taking you up there. There's no doubt we are so going to visit there because you will be blown away by this winery, by the vineyards, by everything up there. The wine caves that they have up there and the history that you learned about today. You'll be like, oh, I already know about that. I learned about that.
I'll also add, we can ship to you. So you can buy our wines online, and we are more than happy to ship.
Right.
We take a great deal of care as far as what we ship, making sure that we look at the weather reports and make sure that it's not going to be shipped when it's too hot. In fact, we have a lot of our wines sitting in a warehouse in
That's
Missouri,
right.
so that it can get there quickly. So, we love to sell directly to you, and we can to Chicago. It helps us out. As a
I'll
business.
figure it out one way or another. But
Right. I mean, the care the care and precision that Hanzell takes with their wines is, I don't know, almost second to none. Really has just been amazing. From my time up there, I mean, we when people would purchase wine up there, if it was the summertime, I would have to tell people, we're not shipping right now. You're not going to get this wine until whatever date
Yeah.
it might be, because it was all about the care of the wine, making certain that we were delivering the best product possible to you. And that and everything was just handled with such loving care, which I will say is everything's been handled with love and care up there, from the earth, from place to the bottle to when it gets to you. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So McNeil, thank you so much. Lloyd, have you been up there?
I have. I used to be a wine club member.
Ooh, well, good. Excellent. We got to get you
But I
back.
thought you looked familiar.
Absolutely.
Are you local here in Sonoma?
Yes.
Excellent.
And I need to make another visit. It's been way too long.
Yes, we are all looking forward to having visitors here.
Right. You are now, and just before we go quickly, you're close to the public right now.
We're currently close to the public, even though some places have opened. We're taking a much more conservative approach. We want to make sure that both our state educators feel very comfortable and secure in our protocols and how we're going to go about doing our tastings, but just really kind of figure out what's going on out there, as I'm sure everyone can appreciate. And we don't want to open up and then have to close down. We're tentatively shooting for early September. But we were tentatively shooting for beginning of July, and we've been backing up. So it's all keep our fingers crossed and wear masks and wash our hands.
Right.
And do everything we can.
Good wine.
Yeah. So, but we one of the wonderful things that we have to offer, something that we started very auspiciously. We have now 5 outdoor tasting decks that are right alongside the Ambassador's Vineyard, that look right up at the Heritage Winery. It's a beautiful, very picturesque. It's underneath the oak trees. It's really a gorgeous place to come and taste wines and experience Hanzell.
It is. McNeil showed them to me today, and they absolutely, it's a beautiful. I'm looking forward to going back. Lloyd, you and I are going. Boris, definitely. Matt, you've never been up there. Mary Elise, have you been up there? So we need to.
No, I haven't. I'm sure Carolyn's been up there, but I haven't.
Of course, Carolyn Stone. Carolyn Stone is a member.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Many times.
Carolyn has been a member.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we absolutely. Well, McNeil, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time and the passion. I mean, that truly is what Hanzell is all about. It is about the passion for winemaking from the beginning to the end, and it really just exudes in every single bottle that is produced every single year. I feel fortunate that tonight I know that I'm drinking this Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
Both bottles.
With
all
dinner
of
tonight.
You don't, I'm flying over.
Okay, Boris, come on over. Come on over. You're gonna love it. I promise you. I promise you. Well, McNeil, thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Cheers, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all here at Hanzell at some point.
Absolutely. Cheers. Cheers
Cheers.
to that, everyone.
Cheers, Gary.
Thank you, McNeil. Have a
You're
good night,
welcome.
everyone.
All right.
Thank you, Gary.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Hi, everyone.